Hello, everybody. I have a book haul today. I know it's been a while since I've done a video. I've been kind of collecting things to share with you. Let me start with one I think I've already hauled, but I have something that goes with it now. So I'll start with that one. And then, I don't know, I've got a stack on this side and a stack on this side. So I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 17-ish books. I don't know, something like that. Not counting the one that I've already shown you, which would be T.J. Klune, Under a Whispering Door. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, or to read it at all. I really want to. I have been in such a reading slump. And then with me being injured and stuff, I've been to doctor appointments and therapy appointments, and every time I go to the doctor, he finds something else he wants to send me to a specialist for, even though it always turns out to be nothing. So that's where I've been the last couple months. Doctor's appointments constantly. I mean, when you figure sometimes 3 times in a week I'm going to either a therapy appointment or a doctor appointment, that's a lot. And then this last 2.5, 3 weeks, I've had this horrendous cold and sinus infection that, I mean, you can hear it in my voice. I still have a little bit of it, still a little bit stuffy, but I'm a lot better now. It hit me the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, because we did Thanksgiving the weekend before. My brother and his family come, and we do our Thanksgiving thing. And after they left on Sunday, I had a therapy appointment on Monday. Tuesday, I slept the whole day. And by Wednesday, I was so sick. I, it was all in my head. It was like all sinus related. And then, of course, the drainage makes you cough. And then I don't know where all the crud comes from, but there was a lot of crud. It wasn't pleasant. But anyway, this book, I know I've hauled it before because I've had it since it came out. But Tor had this deal where if you pre-ordered it, which I did, then you could send in your receipt and get an art print, which is really beautiful. I think this is just phenomenal. And I mean, I was going to get the book anyway, so why not do a pre-order and get something to go with it? At some point, I would like to get a frame for it. Let me see if I can get far enough back so you can see the whole thing at once. I would like to frame it and hang it sometime. I mean, I just look at the clouds in the sky making the deer head, and then you've got the boys or young men. This makes me want to read the book even more. So put that back in its little mailer here so that it doesn't get ruined. Why is it not sliding? There we go. And in the same email that offer was in, there was one for another book that has a story. It was to receive a pin for All of Us Villains by Amanda Foody and Christine Lynn Herman. I have the pin. Unfortunately, something happened with my pre-order, and I'm not entirely sure what exactly happened. The lighting in this house sucks. Blood Before All. I just think that's kind of cool. Where you have like the face and the hands and coming out of the darkness. It's kind of cool. I will end up ordering the book again. But what happened was I pre-ordered it through Amazon, and they sent me the email saying it had been sent. And I just had a little card that said, "Thank you, Tortine." I feel bad having the premium for something that I don't have the book for. So I do want to read it, so I will eventually reorder it. I have to wait until I'm back to work and have income again. Excuse me. But what happened was apparently something with UPS, they said it was undeliverable, and they sent it back to Amazon. Don't know why. I don't know what was undeliverable about it, because things I ordered after that was shipped arrived before I got the email saying the other thing wasn't coming, that it had been returned. So I don't know. I find it strange. And it had this whole list of reasons why it may have been determined undeliverable, like it had the wrong address. Well, that's not the problem, because other things, it's always the same address. I never change it. So I don't know why that would have been it. It could have been something wrong with the printed label on it. Okay, that's on their end. Nothing I could do about that. It could be the package got damaged, so they just sent it back. But if it gets returned back to Amazon, they don't resend it. They just cancel your order, give you a refund, and send you an email saying, if you still want it, you can order it again later. Okay, I still want it, but now I gotta wait until I have a little bit more money available. And the other thing I found weird was, instead of using the gift cards that I had, like I asked them to, they charged my bank account. So I thought that was a little weird, but they refunded it. So, I'm not going to complain too much. It's just that I was really watching my account so that I didn't, go overdrawn or anything. And, I haven't been paid in 4 months. So my injury happened beginning of September. So September, October, November, December, I haven't worked. I haven't gotten paid. So I have to watch that account and make sure that I can know where every penny is going. And so when they pulled almost $20 out, I'm just like, whoa, wait a minute. You were supposed to use the gift card that was sitting there. But luckily everything worked out, and they ended up returning the money anyway. So I don't have the book, but I have the pin. So I want to read the book anyway. And just because I feel guilty having the pre-order premium and not the book because Amazon canceled it, I know that's not my fault and I shouldn't feel guilty about it, but I kind of do. Anyway, those are the two things that I had before I get into all the other goodies that I have piled up here. I don't know where to start, which pile to start with. Okay, let's start with what I got for Christmas. Yes, I know Christmas is still 13 days away. It's only the 12th today. But when my brother and his family came for Thanksgiving, we did Christmas as well. And they got me this Life magazine special thing, Vampires, Their Undying Appeal. I had seen this in Walmart, and I wanted to read it, and I wanted to have a copy of it because I really love vampire stuff. And I couldn't. It's listed at $15, $14.99 in the U.S., $17.99 in Canada. So I was just like, I don't know. I can't justify spending that kind of money on this when I've got other things I got to do, like buy toilet paper. Book, toilet paper. The back's pretty cool. I mean, Bela Lugosi, come on, my favorite Dracula, and then there's other vampires. But it looks interesting. Oh, my other favorite vampire, David from the Lost Boys. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading through this. It's got really great artwork and stuff in here. Is that Elizabeth Bathory? Yeah, that's Elizabeth Bathory. So I mean, it's gonna go through like the whole history. Here's Marty the Vampire, which is one of the first written accounts. How vampire bats live and thrive. Bats, I love bats. I've already worn it. I got a T-shirt for Christmas as well, and it's sitting in the laundry basket. I will definitely have to point it out when I wear it for a video. But here's about Dracula. Here's Bela Lugosi bringing Dracula to life, and yeah, there's a there's a thing about Nosferatu, Twilight. There's Nosferatu's awesome. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. This has Max Schreck, Klaus Kinski, and Willem Dafoe all as Nosferatu. So that's cool. Uh, Willem Dafoe was Nosferatu in Shadow of the Vampire, which was about the making of um, the movie Nosferatu. So this is pretty cool. It's got like the whole history of vampires in movies. Here's a thing about Charlene Harris and True Blood. Um, yeah, all the way down to like children's stuff. The Count and Vampirina and Count Chocula and um, Hotel Transylvania. It took me a second. I forgot what it was. The Munsters. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be fun. But in addition to this, they brought me the other one I had been looking at on the shelf at Walmart, which is listed at, let's say, $19.99. Yeah, $19.99 US, $24.99 Canada. So obviously, if I was going to pay $15, I wasn't going to pay $20 either. But this is History of Vampires. So I'm excited about this. This is absolutely um, the kind of thing that I'm into. I love the mythology. I like the literature. Here it's full of images as well. And I like that it's got kind of this reddish, blood red cast to the edges. Because if you look at the edge of the page, it's like you can tell what color that is on my screen. Yeah, whatever. It's kind of a bloody wood grain look to it. There's 6 signs to spot a true vampire. um, Debunking the vampire myth. Vampire spotting. Legendary bloodsuckers and walking corpses. So it's about vampires around the world. So this has a lot of similar things, but here's the whole thing on Vlad the Impaler. Native American vampires. That will be interesting. And I like that it's got, there's Vlad the Impaler. It's got a lot of, there's Elizabeth Bathory again. Vampires in recent history. I like that it's got around the world. It's got real vampires. Um, and the literary part is just this part at the end. The whole thing about vampires in literature. It talks about Polidori, and then there's vampires on the screen, and so yeah, I think this will be pretty good. There's the back. Talks about, folklore origins and cultural differences and real life examples, popular culture, myth versus reality. So I think this one will be a good one too. I'm pretty excited about it. And it's from the makers of All About History. So there's those two. That was my Christmas, or part of it. Like I said, they got me a shirt. They got me some stuffed bats. And oh, I know what to show you. Luckily, it's right here. They got me the Vampire Pez Dispenser, which I may have already had. I don't know, but here's what I wanted to show you. Because this is just so darn cool, especially with everything that's going on in the world. It's a plague doctor bat. Isn't it adorable? I just think this is so freaking cool. And its hat's removable, and the mask is removable. It's got like a little elastic on it so that you can see his cute little face. The little scarf thing is sewn on. It doesn't come off, but that's okay. I love it. I don't want to lose all the parts, so I keep it in this little box until I can find a good place to display it. It's really super soft. The hat doesn't like to stay put. It likes to fall off. That's why I keep it in the box. And yeah, they gave me a Jack Skellington ornament and the Pez dispenser, which I probably have multiples of it, but I couldn't remember if I had it or not because it might be a different one. I don't know. Do they change the Pez dispenser every so often? And this really cute spider necklace. So that's just part of it. Like I said, there was a couple other things. There's a Mickey Mouse Dracula rubber duck, which is really kind of cute, and a couple other stuffed bats and a little Grinch thing and some other pins. But this isn't a Christmas haul. This is a book haul. So let's go back to the books. This one, Closing the Book on Santa Claus, is a short story collection by Ron Chandler. This is third edition. I won this one on Goodreads. So hopefully I will get to it before Christmas is over. I don't know a whole lot about this author. Get over a little bit. That's better. But I was surprised when I looked at it the other day. I discovered it's signed. I didn't know it was going to be a signed copy. That's cool. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 stories. So at this rate, if I read a story a day, I'll have it done by Christmas. That's an idea. Let's see. What else do I have? Ooh, while we're on the holiday theme, I found at the Little Free Library. This was either the Little Free Library or the freebie box at the actual library. Celebrations around the world, or Complete Book of American Holidays. Sorry, I thought this was around the world. By Robert J. Myers with the editors of Hallmark Cards. So, Complete Book of American Holidays. I thought this sounded interesting. I'm interested in traditions and folklores and things like that. So it's got New Year's and Chinese New Year's and Valentine's Day, and Good Friday and Easter and Arbor Day and Flag Day, Independence Day, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Advent, Christmas, Armed Forces Day, National Aviation Day, All Saints Day. And then at the end, it's got like a listing of other holidays. I guess ones that they didn't have time to put into the actual thing and write big chunks about. But I thought that one looked interesting. Um, I'll put these two together. I have N is for Noose and O is for Outlaw by Sue Grafton. Again, I picked them up at either the Little Free Library or the library freebie box. I've been reading the Kinsey Mahone series. Unfortunately, it only goes up to Y because Sue Grafton passed away before Z could be written, and she didn't want anybody else to write the series. I'm on, where am I? I'm on E is for Evidence right now. But I'm kind of taking my time because I think one of the Goodreads groups I'm in is doing it as a challenge next year. So I don't want to get too far ahead and have to reread them all. But in a similar mystery/thriller vein, I've got Patricia Cornwell, Blowfly. It's one of the Kay Scarpetta novels, which I do want to reread them because it's been a long time since I've read them. I may have already had a copy of this. With Patricia Cornwell, I had one book that I have picked up copies of probably 4 or 5 different times. And it was one before this one. I'm not sure which one. Black Notice, maybe? I don't like the way they've got this listed. It just says also by, and just lists a bunch of her books, but they're not like the Kay Scarpetta series and the other series and this other series. Because she's got more than one series out there. Might be Black Notice. Anyway, I do like her writing. I enjoy her books. She just had one come out just like a week or two ago. I've been seeing it a lot on Facebook, called Autopsy, which is her new Scarpetta novel. So now at some point I'm going to have to pick that one up. What else do I have? What's in this stack? Oh, okay. We'll get to that. I have The Body, A Guide for Occupants by Bill Bryson. I've read a couple of his books. He's interesting. He's nonfiction, and he puts a little bit of humor in there at points. Oh, this one happens to be a large print edition. I might actually be able to see it to read it. Don't really know a whole lot about it, other than he's going to talk about different things about the human body. I don't know if I hauled this one before or not. It was sitting in a bag, and I couldn't remember if I hauled it or not. This one came from the dollar store, Dollar Tree. Amy Tan, Where the Past Begins. It's her memoir. I read a couple of her books, and I enjoy her writing. I seem to enjoy like Chinese and Chinese American writing. I don't know what it is about the style, maybe, or maybe is the subject matter. I don't know, but I do tend to enjoy reading things by Chinese and Chinese American authors. Amy Tan, Lisa C, a couple others that I can't think of names off the top of my head. But that's part of the stack. Woo, we're getting there. Okay, we'll break this stack up into a smaller stack. I have a couple cookbooks, and I believe they all came from the box at the library. Creative cooking, low sodium for hypertensives and their families. 4 blood types, 4 diets, cook right for your type. George Foreman's lean, mean, fat reducing grilling machine recipe booklet, which I don't know what I'm going to do with it because I don't have one of the machines, but I think my son picked that one up for me. And then Sunset Books, low fat pasta cookbook, recipes for healthy eating. Well, who doesn't like pasta? I love pasta. I love my carbs. So, cookbooks. I mean, what all can I say about cookbooks? We have a classic, a Wordsworth classics, Virgil's Aeneid. I know we've read segments of it in various English classes, but I can't really tell you anything about it. Immortal poem embodies the glory and aspirations of Rome on a grand scale. So there's that. And then I picked up Joey Pigza Swallowed the Key by Jack Gantos. It was a National Book Award finalist, apparently. And I picked up Silent to the Bone by E.L. Königsberg. This person has won the Newbery Award twice. And I actually just read one of their books, Jennifer Hecate, Macbeth, William McKinley, and Me, Elizabeth. Long-ass title. And out of all of that, only 2 of the things were actual characters. Jennifer read Macbeth. That's where the Macbeth comes in. Hecate is a character in Macbeth, and she mentions it. That's where that came in. And they go to William McKinley School. They didn't need those names. Just call it, Jennifer and Me or something like that. That's an awfully long title. But this is by the same author. Connor is sure his best friend Branwell couldn't have hurt Branwell's baby half-sister Nikki, but Nikki lies in a coma and Branwell is in a juvenile behavioral center suspected of horrible crime and unable to utter the words to tell what really happened. Connor's the only one who might be able to break through Branwell's wall of silence, but how can he prove Branwell didn't commit the unspeakable act of which he's accused when Branwell can't speak for himself? Might be interesting. This one, I don't know the author. But it sounds like a kid with ADHD has some issues. Joey Pigza can't sit still, he can't pay attention, he can't follow the rules, and he can't help it, especially when his meds aren't working. Joey's had problems ever since he was born, problems just like his dad and grandma have, and whether he's wreaking havoc on a class trip or swallowing his house key, Joey's problems are getting worse. In fact, his behavior is so off the wall that his teachers are threatening to send him to the special ed center downtown. Joey knows he's a really good kid, but no matter how hard he tries to do the right thing, something always seems to go wrong. Will he ever get anything right? So it was a finalist in 1998 for the National Book Award for Children's Literature. It's a notable children's book of 1999 for the ALA, and a notable 1999 children's trade book in social studies from the NCSS/CBC. It makes me think there's maybe some ADHD in the story because of the way it was written, or the blurb was written. I dealt with some of that with my son growing up, so he has settled down quite a bit. I have Revolutionary Summer, The Birth of American Independence by Joseph J. Ellis, the Pulitzer Prize-winning author of Founding Brothers. So, is this... I don't know if this is... They've got it listed as nonfiction on the library tag, so I'm going to say it's probably a nonfiction then. So we have a historical book. about the American Revolution. Got some maps. Is that pictures? Yay, there's pictures. I like it when they have pictures. It's got the deckled edges, which makes flipping through pages a little bit more difficult. I think it looks good, but it's a little more difficult to turn pages. We got a lot of portraits of key figures, and so there's that. My brother will probably like it. He does some reenacting, more War of 1812, but he has done some Rev War stuff, so he would probably like it. He enjoys history. And the last book is one I'm actually partway through. I don't know, 2/3 of the way through it. Is Leonard Malton's 151 Best Movies You've Never Seen. And what this book does is most of it is from like in the last 20 or so years. Well, from when was this written? This was published what year was this published? 2010. So, 15 to 20 years prior to 2010. Probably 2009. Because, you gotta have time to publish and get it sent out and everything. But this was in the box at the library. And I thought, ooh, this might be interesting. It might make an interesting video project. And he's right. Most of them are movies I haven't seen. It's movies that he considers to be underrated. And they're more recent. He does a lot of times go back in some of his books and do movies from like the 30s and 40s, the black and white classics. But this has is more recent stuff. Let's see. One. Two. Three. Four. Five. Did I see that? I've definitely seen 6. There's 2 or 3 others that I may or may not have seen, or I might just have heard the titles enough times that I'm not sure if I've seen them. And then there's about 3 others that I've heard the titles of before. So I think, 145 that I probably haven't seen, based on the 6 I know I've seen. That's going to be an interesting time. And some of these sound really, really good. Some of them sound like movies that I'm going to have trouble tracking down. But I think it would be fun to, after reading the book, go through and find, excuse me, find the movies and watch them, and then maybe do little short reviews of what I thought. Like read what he said, and then this is what I thought about it, kind of a thing. Is that something y'all might be interested in? So I just don't have any ideas what to do with this channel. And yesterday I read The Wanderer by Sharon Creech. It was pretty good. It's a Newbery winner, or Newbery Honor book. She also wrote the book Walk Two Moons, which won the Newbery Award. This one is about a girl who goes with like her uncles and cousins on a sailboat she's from Kentucky. So they went to the coast, and then she met up with her family members, and she went on this sailboat trip to England. So they went from like wherever it was they met up to Martha's Vineyard and up the coast, and then cut across. And this is about the trip. And there's a lot of interesting stuff. I like the fact that the protagonist is a young girl. She's 13. And she gets to do stuff. You know, she's with, like, was it 3 uncles and 2 cousins that are all male. She's the only female on the boat. And they let her do stuff. And, you know, that's great. It's going to be encouraging for young girls especially who read this. And it is adventure, so boys will enjoy it too. It goes back and forth between Sophie, our young girl, and her cousin Cody as the narrator, but it primarily focuses on her and her adventure and, you know, her getting to do this. She was orphaned, and so she leaves her adopted parents to go with these uncles and cousins to do this trip. And as far as she's aware, they're the only ones she's ever known, because I guess when she was a baby that she lost her birth parents. And it talks about her being afraid of the water and going on this boat trip, and she's so excited about this trip. And there's a time where there's a storm that comes up, and how she rides out the storm, and it was pretty good. So if you're looking for a young middle grade to young adult adventure type story, this was a pretty good one. And if you need a suggestion for Newbery November next year, read that one. I liked it. I mentioned Jennifer, Hecate, Macbeth, William McKinley, and Me, Elizabeth by E.L. Konigsberg earlier. Elizabeth lives with her family, but they're not wealthy or anything. They're on the poorer side of town, and she's walking to school dressed as a pilgrim for the Halloween costume party thing. And she meets this little girl who's sitting in a tree who's also dressed as a pilgrim, but has a more old-fashioned looking, more realistic looking costume. And the little girl tells her she's a witch. And, you can be my apprentice witch. And so there's this whole thing about Elizabeth doing all these crazy things that Jennifer tells her to do because she wants to become a witch. And there's something that happens where there's a little falling out between them, and then things progress. I remember, oh geez, what year was that? 6th grade, maybe? One of my teachers reading it to us in class. And I really loved it then, and now, all these years later, I mean, I'll be 50 next year, so I'm reading going, oh my God, I liked this? This is so stupid. I didn't think it should have won the Newbery. I'm sure there was better books that year. But I guess part of why it probably won is because Jennifer's a little black girl and Elizabeth's a little white girl, and they become fast friends. Okay, except that at the beginning of the book, they didn't mention the fact that Jennifer was black. That didn't even come up until at the end of the book. So I'm like, oh, so what? Basically, it was these 2 little girls were friends. Why did we have to bring race into it at all? Because it didn't play into the story. I don't know. But anyway, that's a couple of the more recent things I read. I listened to an audiobook of Oh, What Fun, which was a short story that was offered as a freebie through Amazon Prime and Audible. I rated it as a 2-star, and I felt that was kind of generous because, well, I'm not a big fan of short stories as it is. Because I feel like if it's a story worth telling, you're not going to get enough. And in this case, there were so many characters, and I felt like we just weren't getting enough. Um, I couldn't get to where I liked any of the characters because we weren't with them long enough. Because there was the mother, the father, their 3 adult children, the one um, son's boyfriend, the one the daughter's husband and her 2 kids. That's a lot of characters. And then they brought in the neighbor who showed up for a couple scenes. And then there was this like TV host who's sort of an Oprah type um, host, only she had a different name. But it was that type of feeling. And I'm just like, there are so many characters, and it's maybe a 35 to 40 page short story. Not many characters. It needed to be a longer story. Especially when the big events happen. As they flew through them, it was just like, oh, because the mother disappears, but they don't tell you that she left. They're like, oh, it's not just not Christmas without mom being here. Did mom die? What's going on? Where's mom? No, mom took off. She sent everybody to see Disney on Ice, and she took off. And she's the one that was always the one to put all the Christmas stuff together. And it's just not Christmas without mom being here. Well, why does mom have to be the one to do it all? That's the gist of the thing. Why does mom have to be the one? You know, and they, you know, well, you made their favorite dish and they made their favorite dish. How come you won't cook my favorite dish? Guilting mom into making something she wasn't planning on cooking. She goes, "Oh, you're right. That is kind of traditional that I make that every year. So I guess I'll do it." And she had to run to the store, get all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. You know what? Fine. That's a nice little moment. But you went through it so quickly that it really didn't mean anything. You know, the neighbor shows up with a small gift, and the mom is like panicking because she didn't buy anything for the neighbor. She didn't even know that this neighbor was going to just randomly show up at the door and give her a present, you know? But she was all upset because she didn't buy something for this neighbor. And so I'm going to go over and get blah, blah, blah. Well, she takes off and goes to the store, but she never comes back with the gift that she went to go get. And she was complaining, or the one daughter was complaining because, you know, mom is always, when we're on the way, wanting to know what time we're going to get there so that she can have everything ready. Da, 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 da. And so when the daughter shows up, the mom's not there, and she has to wait 45 minutes for mom to get there. Bitch. I didn't like the daughter at all. Because she felt just like so privileged. Well, mom wasn't here. And she wanted to know when I was going to be here. How come she's not here when I'm here? Because she had to go to the store to get something. And, you know, stuff happens. Sometimes you can't get back from the store real easy. And it was just kind of blown off in passing why she wasn't there when the daughter got there. And then the daughter's complaining about how she doesn't like to wrap presents, and the mom's like, "Oh, I'll do it." And had to wrap all of her granddaughter's Christmas gifts. And apparently the daughter went overboard and bought a whole bunch of stuff. But they don't tell you anything about what she got or when she got it or how they packed it in the car so the kids don't know about it. You know? It's just, I would have liked certain things to have been explored a little more. And characters to be developed. I mean, the son's boyfriend, we barely even get acknowledgement that the son exists, let alone the fact he's got a boyfriend. And the son's boyfriend got more development than the son did. Really? I'm trying not to get too detailed so that if you should want to read it. I mean, I looked at the reviews on Goodreads and they were kind of polarized, either 4 and 5 stars. Oh, this is the greatest story I've ever read. Is fantastic. I loved it. Or people like me that are 1 and 2 stars are like, I wanted more. There wasn't enough character development. There, some stuff dragged on forever that wasn't important, and things that might have been more interesting that would have explained the family dynamic more or would have developed a character a little more because of the event in question wasn't developed at all. It was just kind of, a line in passing. And I want to know more about this boyfriend because of something that happened at the end. At the very end. And if we would have had some character development, it might have actually meant something. When it becomes kind of a throwaway line, it's hard to care. So I'd say for that particular short story, it kind of didn't work for me. If it would have been about twice as long and they could have had some new character development in there, I probably would have liked it. I could see it being developed into maybe like a movie or something, a Christmas comedy. But the way it was kind of hit or miss. Because there was parts where it was the mom who was, I guess, making a video that's never really made clear. But I think she was making some sort of video for some sort of contest to be on the show of this woman who's like Oprah. It was like the mom's favorite show, and she never missed it. And I would have liked more of that, but I would have liked to explain what she was talking about. Why? Because it just starts with her talking, and who are you talking to? And she's like, oh, wait, maybe, can I start over? And I'm like, what is this? And then it cuts to the family stuff, and it cuts back to her and this, whatever it is she's doing. I guess she's making a video. And then the neighbor mentions that this talk show host person and something about her kids making a video or whatever. So that's when I put it together. That must be what's going on with the mother. But her family wasn't doing it. So because she is so obsessed with this woman, she was doing it. Now, see, I could see that would have been interesting if it had been developed better. If it would have been explained what was going on. And then when things happen later in the story, it would have made more sense. So here I am going on and on and on about this short story I didn't care for. But I think it really had potential. It could have been fun. If it would have been 100 pages, more of a novella, then it probably would have been a lot better because they could have had the time to develop some of these characters. I mean, we don't know anything about what the little girls were like, the granddaughters, other than they were excited that they got to go see Disney on Ice because they like Frozen. Okay, how old are these kids? Are they twins? I want not even entirely sure on that because they were glossed over so briefly. Why were they a part of the story if you weren't going to add them into some significant point? I mean, okay, it's great that they got to go see Disney on Ice and that, Frozen was part of it. But so what? You didn't tell us anything about the girls. They had no development whatsoever than that they're little girls and they like Frozen. So what? A lot of little girls like Frozen. Give us something unique about these kids, why we should care about them, and whether they got to see this ice thing or not. The daughter's husband, the father of the little girls, he might as well not even been there. He was only mentioned like twice, I think. He's really a non-character, so why put him in? If you're not going to do anything with him, why put him in? The one son was always texting to his ex-girlfriend because he was upset that she left him or whatever. And okay, that's his one characteristic. Don't know anything else about him except he likes to text. He's always texting. Okay. The other son, the one with the boyfriend, they didn't develop him either. We got more about the boyfriend than we did the son. Now, if this is supposed to be a family story, why are we not developing the family members? Why are we developing outside characters? And I mean, even the mother, who was the main focus of the story, wasn't really developed other than she was obsessed with this talk show host and her show, and she liked Christmas. Okay. So what? Let's make it mean something. But it was her disappearance that I guess was the focus of the story, but they didn't tell you anything about. They didn't say that she disappeared. They just kept saying she wasn't there. Well, that could be anything. And they didn't even discover she wasn't there until they went to the ice place, to the ice show. And something happened there, and they're like, where is she? She's not here. You waited to the end of the fucking performance before you even noticed she wasn't there? Really? Seriously? Yeah. It needed some work. It needed an editor to tell the writer, hey, develop your characters. Develop the plot. Don't just keep giving them these little one-off things that don't seem connected because, whatever. Anyway, I think that's going to do it. Hate leaving this on a negative note, but I got some other stuff I need to listen to, and I'm hoping. Well, I know the one's going to have me in tears. I got a couple Christmas ones I'm going to try to listen to here. And this one's going to have me in tears. I just know it will. A Dog's Perfect Christmas. This is the W. Bruce Cameron. He's the one that wrote A Dog's Journey and A Dog's Purpose. And what was the other one? Oh, there's a whole bunch of them. A Dog's Promise. I don't know that one. Emery's Gift, The Dogs of Christmas, The Dog Master, A Dog's Way Home. A Dog's Purpose, A Dog's Journey, and A Dog's Way Home, I believe, are all movies as well. And they make me cry. They make me cry. That's why I know this one's going to make me cry. And the other one is Debbie Macomber, Christmas Letters. Don't know anything about it. The back says Christmas 2006 brings a new romantic comedy from Debbie Macomber. She's the one that wrote Mrs. Miracle and all of those. And I love the Mrs. Miracle and Mr. Miracle movies from, was it the Hallmark Channel that did them? Geez, I watched Mrs. Miracle several years in a row. It's just a cute story. So I'm looking forward to those two. And that's part of what I got coming up. I got a couple others. I got the third book in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder or whatever it's called. What's it called? As Good as Dead. It's the third book in that series. I've got books 4, 5, and 6 from the Sweep series. E for Evidence. I got F is for Fugitive. And I got a couple more Newbery books and a graphic novel. So I got a stack of things I'm trying to get read. Anyway, so that's what's coming up. So this is almost an hour long. Okay, I've got to let y'all go because I've been yapping way too long. And I'm sure my son is probably wanting dinner sometime soon because it's almost 6 o'clock. So I will hopefully not take so long getting another video together. What it's going to be, I don't know. So I've already done like half the Christmas stuff. We're not planning anything special for Christmas. I've already given him his presents. I figured we'll just do it all at once. So Christmas Day is not going to be too much. Yeah, really, that's about all I've got. I don't know what's coming up. It may be New Year's before I do the next thing. I don't know. We'll have to see if I end up with any more books between now and then. Maybe we'll do an end of the year book haul thing. I don't know. Like I said, it depends on if I get anything else. I would love to do a bookshelf tour, but I don't really have bookshelves, so that's kind of not happening. I'll probably be doing an end of the year reading stats again, like I did last year. God, that took forever. But then I also read over 300 books last year. This year, I'm almost 150. Like I said, I've been in a terrible reading slump. Pretty much, I did the Tower Teams challenge on Goodreads. And when that ended, 1st of August, I guess, something like that, I was like, okay, I'm tired. I don't want to read. So I only read a little bit in August and even less in September. September is when I got injured. I had all this time. I have been home for 4 months, almost 3.5 months. I should have been just book after book. I should have been reading. Nope. I'm just like, I look at books and go, I tell you, it sucks being in a reading slump. It's a little bit better now. I've read about 6 or 7 so far in December. But, I mean, here we are, the 12th. I should have way more than that. I should be reading my bag of Christmas books that I've got sitting aside. That I just look at it and go, yeah, they're books. I don't know. I finally watched The Grinch last night, so maybe I'll start getting into the holiday spirit a little bit. Because that's the one I watched. Last night was Die Hard and How the Grinch Stole Christmas. The animated 1966 one. Because the other ones aren't as good. Watch the animated one. It's the best. It's the closest to the actual story. Because they're reading the story to you. And, I mean, why keep remaking it when it's already been done pretty much perfectly? I don't know. It's like I'm skeptical about the new West Side Story movie. Did it really need to be remade? The one from the 60s was pretty damn good. It's one of my favorites. I'm not sure I want to see a new, grittier version. But I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to let you go. We're at 59 minutes and change. So remember to do all the YouTube-y stuff. Comment, like, share, subscribe. And yeah, go away, phone. I guess that means it's time for me to go since the phone's ringing. And hopefully it won't be too long until you can see me in the next one. Bye.